Good morning, guys. I'm back here over at Cassone's RV, and we're going to do a checkup on those two Winnebago roof failures that they're rebuilding currently. I suspect they're going to be putting the rear caps on, at least one of them today. All right, so here is the 2009, about ready to get laminated. They went ahead and over here cut out the foam so that harness would fit a lot better in there than it was before. You can see they have all this fill-in foam done. They have a few more paces to get to, but they did smooth it out quite a bit right there. They'll do one more lift where that channel is still open and on the back right there, and then they'll start laminating it. Now over here they have put the front cap back on and got that secured, which looks great. You can kind of make out where the frame supports are on this roof over here. And they have added a new roof vents, new sewer vents, and pretty soon they're going to be putting on the rear cap today too. Otherwise, we can see that wooden I-beam is still holding the roof and its nice arch pattern that we incorporated into this roof. And compared to when we started, there is quite a bit of distance between the bottom of the ceiling and the top of the slide out. See where it was rubbing before right there. Still, we're always very nervous until we completely drop the support out of the way. Because up until that point, you never know if all this work was for nothing. But I think they did a really good job. They added a lot of supports in this, like Winnebago should have done when they built it. Now, even though this is the bigger cap, this is actually one that's easier to put on than the front cap. The front cap's a little bit more difficult to get all the geometry correctly, especially on the sides where it's meeting the sidewall to the front cap and the windshield. That windshield that Winnebago does, it is a steel frame all the way around, and Winnebago's claim to fame of their steel superstructure, and so the windshield gets glued into the steel superstructure, and you can see Winnebago's claim to fame is also that their steel superstructure always rusts out, but that front cap gets glued onto the front and gets screwed on from behind. And because all the hardware is hidden, you kind of have to make your way awkwardly on the inside. You can see those screws that are securing it on the front, and you got adhesive on the bottom there to make it kind of seamless in appearance. So getting all that geometry is a little bit more difficult than you think it would be. Compared to the back cap, you just hang it on the back and start securing it back down again. It's actually a lot easier to put on. It's just a little bit more difficult because it's bigger, so you need at least 3 or 4 people to put it on there correctly.
Be a good piece of land. Everything will be out there by then.
Looks pretty good up here. Oh, you got to get the you got to do the step that the last shop didn't do, huh?
Yeah, they're not going to seal very well. Do a piece of plastic that's not sealed.
If you find that this stuff doesn't come off so easily, just a little bit of Acrosol gets under the edge right there and lets it out.
Without. Without.
And it doesn't leave a residue. That's why body shops love the Acrosol for the free, what do they call that? All-purpose cleaner.
Whoops. All-purpose.
Oh my gosh, wasn't that so much easier?
The tips and the tricks of the trade.
Like Scott pointed out, they're going to be painting the radiuses right here, so it's nice to have the built-in drop cloth on top of the roof. All right, ready to glue the rear cap on? All right, we got the forklift set up with the important insulation or cushion. Gap right there, make sure water doesn't leak on, then we'll put bead sealant on top. You can see put a mark on the roof to know where to actually put the sealant.
Good, nice, healthy bead to keep the water out of the back.
You know, the last shop missed this step of taking the cap off. It's a very important part of the structure, is getting this roof underneath the cap. Oh yeah, lift out 2 or 3 of these. Up.
Yeah.
All right. Up. Up. Forward. A little bit more. A little bit more. All right, good.
All right, I'm on.
Down.
Yep, bring it down.
Down.
Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Down.
Yep. All right. Pressure's off. Can I leave it there? Yep.
All right, now wherever the screws are.
Looks pretty good. You did a good job lining that up, Micah.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh yeah. Easy money.
Same hole?
Yeah. It's really good. Push it in.
Please. A couple of these screws from the last fellers, they were broken.
Yeah, sounds about right. Nice.
Going underneath the molding.
Yep, I like it much better than putty back here. Even though you guys did have the embedded sheet metal under there to grab the screws.
I don't think this is molding.
Of course, it helps if you get the right molding. Ooh, look at that ooze out. That's why I like it so much better than putty.
That's what it's supposed to look like.
Good job. Well, the guys have just completely put this back cap together again. They'll be ready to paint it and then, of course, seal the sides and seal the roof. And that's what it takes to install the rear cap. Can't wait to see this whole job done and this RV being able to be used and enjoyed for years to come. Somehow magically I'm gone or I miss it for a day and they've already painted the roof that they just tucked in. Scott does magic work over here at Cassone, so it already has a base color and the urethane on top as a clear. Did all 3 colors, a lot of different stripes on it, and of course both sides are done. You can see I'm walking on this roof, and this is a huge upgrade from where it was when it came to the shop back in March, and I could see a big collapsing at the front and an equal collapsing at the back. I think we've added about 13 frame members as actual crown to put the crown back on the roof here, and with a few more spots of sealant, most importantly sealing right there where the roof tucks into the gutter. This job's pretty much going to be done. One of the things I really like to see is that they didn't reuse the old vents like the previous shop did. They took the time to upgrade to these max fan vents, though you might want to get this stuff off there before that white plastic starts to overheat. Don't ask me how I know that. Went ahead and upgraded the refrigerator vents too, and of course the sewer vents. Those are like $3, so there's absolutely no reason to reuse the old ones. While they didn't upgrade the TV antenna, they at least did a much better job of installing that one. And the shop that replaced this roof the last time added some molding across right there. I don't know if they're going to re-add that molding right here or not, but that's why there's holes right here. So they still have to make that decision on what they're going to do on the front. That shop did not take off the rear cap or the front cap. They just went ahead and made a saw mark right there, and the new Phylon just got butted up against the cap, which is really not good. You could make the argument that with the molding on top, that was more than enough waterproofing. It does limit the strength of the roof, but it doesn't wrap around to the side, so there is a gap when you do that all the way to the side that's just going to be filled in with sealant, and not the right way of doing it. Maybe it's not 100% pristine and flat like it would have been when it left the factory. It definitely feels very strong, and solves all the problems the owner would have had with the Winnebago original roof that was delaminating, and of course the replacement roof that was collapsed at the front and the back. Guys, well, I have a wonderful news. This 2003 Winnebago journey is at the end of its own personal journey of getting a useful and secure roof. So the crew here over at Cassone's RV in Mesa, Arizona have finished up sealing the outside of the roof, which includes the most important sealant of all, which is the ProFlex, which bonds the roof radius to the gutter down here. But they've also went ahead and sealed up the entire roof itself with lap sealant. Now traditionally we've been using Hang's self-leveling silicone, but that's been very difficult to find, so we've now switched over to the Dicor Ultra Sealant. It's a self-leveling silicone too. It's a little bit more runny, but we found it to behave very similar to the Hang self-leveling silicone. And of course on the roof edge itself you're going to want to use ProFlex. This is what I recommend. Lexol is very similar, but I found this has a little bit more body to it. I know the last most important thing to ask is the ceiling collapse still inside now that the supports are out? And let's find out. No more supports lifting up the middle of the roof. And that's got a nice crown on this ceiling now. I mean, you can see right there, that's where the slide out was rubbing. And it's not going to be rubbing on the ceiling anymore. In fact, if I come back over here, you guys remember we used to be able to look down the line and we couldn't see the ceiling at the front right above where the TV is if I went up right there. And now that's not too much of an issue. We can actually see the crown the entire length of the ceiling. It doesn't droop down. And that was the whole purpose of the temporary jack stud, was to raise the crown back on the ceiling, install the framing into the roof itself, laminate it, put everything back together, then lower the support again so that the lamination holds that crown where it's supposed to be. Now, while the worst of it was in the front where it's not completely unsupported, the bedroom had sagged quite a bit too, and we don't have to worry about that either. Really, because of Winnebago's design, the only real support on the roof is right here in the bathroom where you have interior walls that will actually support the roof. The rest of it's all open concept, nothing running from the floor up to the ceiling. But I think this is a much better job than the previous shop did, and I'm really happy and pleased that it turned out so well. Like I said, we're all learning from all of our experiences each time, so now we're always recommending that you do add that jack stud wall inside in the crown of the roof to support while you're working on it, especially if you're taking all the Luan off at one time. Especially if you're going to take all the wood Luan, 1/8 inch Luan paneling off. That allows you an opportunity to foam in and glue everything together. Add a lot more strength to the roof too. But if you release all the Luan all at the same time, you will lose all the strength of the roof. So that's why you want to make sure you have that jack stud in there too. And even that aluminum framing that we have in this 2009 Winnebago journey, we put a lot more on this 2003. It's not something we did previously, but we found that it's been pretty helpful, especially on these roofs that have collapsed from poor design from the get-go. And I guess everybody's most important question is, when you're in the slide-out room in, is it hitting the ceiling anymore? I'm pleased, very pleased to tell you, it does not. You can even see the mark where it was resting on the slide out. Now we have a good solid 1.5 inches of clearance space right there, because there is a crown or a bow put back into the ceiling yet again. Yeah, that's a lot better. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now granted, this molding is still not supposed to be there. The customer doesn't remember if that was there before the roof was done or not. That's a weird thing. But I think the crew here over at Cassone's RV successfully did fix that roof from the previous roof replacement that was just done by a group that hopefully learned a little bit of a lesson on how to do a Winnebago roof correctly. I also hope that Winnebago learned that they should be building their roofs a lot better, incorporating some framing to it so we can stop having this problem. It is 2024. Winnebago started doing this roof design, I think about in 1997, 1998. And really, for the most part, even though there's a few different iterations of it, the same basic lamination structure with the same radius tucked in on the side there, I think it might be time for Winnebago to retool their factory and come up with a better roof design. Give one more final look with that raking light coming from the sun early in the morning. This fine October day. It might be time to take these off though. The roof does feel a lot stronger than it did before. It's not dripped down or drooped in the middle there. Has a lot of framing in here. Went ahead and put a bead of lap on that front cap seam. And I think the customer is going to be very pleased with their re-engineered Winnebago roof that now has framing in it and will actually shed water off the top of it, and it won't be drooped in the front and the back like it was before. Now, while perfection is never something we can ever guarantee, it is a roof. There is a little bit of rippling in it, but I think that's just where all the frame supports are put in, because they did have to add a lot. I think you can see one right about there. But one of the few Winnebago roofs out there that we can actually say does have framing in the roof. It can be done. I wish Winnebago would build them right to begin with, rather than just relying on laminations to do all the heavy lifting for us. But that's why it's very important before you buy a Winnebago, always inspect the roof, make sure it's not delaminated, and make sure the roof edge is not peeling up. Check that sealant at least 2 times a year on a Winnebago. I could not be more pleased with the crew here over at Cassone's RV and the way that they were able to help the owner of this 2003 Journey out. A brand new roof for the 3rd time. Thanks for watching, guys. I think the last decision that has to be made is about the TV. Do you put a 200-pound CRT TV back in? I mean, I know nostalgia says yes, but functionality-wise, it might be time to close this area off for a flat screen TV. And look, they mounted a flat screen TV. So just put a carpeted board there and then mounted the TV right there. Easiest way to doing that. No reason to put that 200-pound TV back up in there. Pretty pleased with the way it turned out. I think this is the tube TV that used to be in this Winnebago Journey right there. Wonder what they ended up doing there. Ready to do this, Micah?
Scott, so we'll have 4 people carry it to the forklift.
Oh. All right, Micah's gonna put the sealant on top so that it bonds to the roof.